Weekend Game Plan gets out into the community with Suburban Newspaper sports editor Mark Lidbetter and the Amateur Sports Report.
He's been off the last 2 weekends, but finally back with us. Damn that World Cup. Hello, Mark Lidbetter.
Good morning, Sean.
How's it going? So let's start off with a little soccer locally. I know it's not necessarily the World Cup, but up in Laval, some of the best young soccer players are going head-to-head.
Yes, sir, and it's been part of the Laval sports scene over the past 32 summers, and the Laval International Soccer Cup is set for a great 33rd edition that's going to run over the course of the next 2 weekends. Now, all the pitches in the Bois de Boulogne complex and the adjoining Competence 2000 complex are going to be utilized to meet the needs of the tournament, as some 160 A and AA level clubs in 19 male and female categories take part in the tournament. Now, the International Cup has built its stature as a must-participate event, and organizers will once again welcome teams from across Canada and several states coming into play. It was also recognized in 2016 as Event of the Year by Soccer Quebec, so they do good work there. And this year organizers are adding to the event with a pair of top-level all-star matches that are going to take place this evening. The men's and women's all-star squads of the Premier Ligue de Soccer de Quebec will take on their counterparts from Ontario's Ligue 1 at Stade Desjardins at Bois de Boulogne. And the ladies will take to the pitch for a 5 p.m. contest, followed by the men's all-star matchup at 8 p.m.
Now, Mark, of course, you know when it comes to Canada Day weekend here at TSN 690, there's a lot of talk about free agency. It feels weird to talk hockey in the middle of the summer, but hockey never really sleeps in this city. And last week we saw one of Montreal's own, Joseph Heleno, get selected by the Detroit Red Wings.
Yeah, and there's a center right there. It was a long evening, but the wait was worth it for Kirkland's Joe Veleno, as he heard his name called out as the 30th selection overall in the first round at the entry draft in Dallas. The Drummondville Voltigeurs center is a former Lac St. Louis Lion, where he played as an underage player at the age of 14 in Midget AAA, following a year at Bantam AAA with the Lions, and he was selected first overall in the 2015 QMJHL entry draft by the St. John Sea Dogs, after becoming only the fifth player ever to be granted exceptional player status by Hockey Canada, and most notably among those five are John Tavares and Connor McDavid. And that allowed him to play major junior hockey as a 15-year-old. But this past season, the Sea Dogs captain was traded mid-season to Drummondville, where he finished off the campaign with 22 goals and 57 assists. Now, internationally also, Veleno has represented Canada at the 2018 Under-18 World Championships, and then he captained his country to gold medal finish at the 2017 Ivan Holinka Memorial. And as you were saying, like Detroit's in a rebuilding mode, so that gives him a real opportunity to try and crack the roster this year.
Yeah, it'd be really cool to see him. I guess if you're not going to be selected by the Montreal Canadiens, not bad to go to a team that gets to play the Habs 6 times a season, or 4 or 5 times a season. So, nice opportunity there for the Kirkland native. A little bit of baseball up at Nelson Mandela Park.
Yeah, the cracking sound of baseball bats filled the air on Sunday afternoons at Nelson Mandela Park this past spring, as the Limited Center Baseball League made its debut. That league is in its inaugural season, and it ran from May 6th until wrapping up June 17th. And under the tutelage of Concordia Stingers baseball team members, the kids comprised of Hasidic boys at the Limit Center, received their first taste of structured sports. Now, many of the players had very little, if any, baseball experience prior to the league. So Stinger players, alongside their head coach Howard Swartz, conducted training drills so that the boys could learn the fundamentals of baseball. And it took 2 months of preparations to get the league up and running, acquiring sponsorship from the local Jewish community, and it ran for the 6 weeks and has been a positive outlet for the boys, many of whom showed up early to get a head start on training. Now, there were 2 levels, the Mosquito and Pee-wee age categories, each made up of 2 teams. And they both had 2-hour blocks each week, where the first hour of the session was dedicated to training, while the second hour introduced the game-like atmosphere. So during the training session, the boys went through the various stations focused on hitting, running, fielding, and catching. Then they got to put those lessons to use in gameplay. So it's a really neat program, and it looks it'll be back next year.
And finally, the Canada Cup of Judo, back after a 25-year absence?
Yeah, it's amazing. You know, it was gone for 25 years. It was held from the late 1970s to the early 1990s, where it featured senior-level athletes exclusively. But now, the 2018 edition is underway at the Complexe Sportif Claude Robillard. It began yesterday and will run until tomorrow, with over 600 athletes from approximately 20 countries competing at the senior, junior, and cadet levels. And it also will allow spectators the unique opportunity to observe several athletes who hope to compete at the 2020 Olympic Games in Tokyo during the tournament. So welcome back to the Canada Cup of Judo.
Dave Trentadui is skilled in the art of jiu-jitsu, so I don't know if you can take part. I understand they're different disciplines, but
I could try my hand at it.
I'd like to see you get your butt kicked.
Me too. It'd be fun.
Hey, Mark, any big plans for the long weekend?
You know what? I haven't felt heat like this since I borrowed my principal's car in high school, so I think it might be relaxing by the pool and checking out some of the soccer out in Laval.
All right, do your best to stay cool.
Take care, boys.
Thanks for jumping on with us today. Coming up next, Andrew Zeternowski. Yes, I know it is not Sunday. We're pulling a little switcheroo here. It's a 32 Dave Trentadui switcheroo. Andrew Zeternowski joins us next to discuss the Canadiens development camp and what could happen come free agent frenzy tomorrow afternoon. That's up next on your home of the Habs. That was an Impact TSN 690.